evening and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News at 4. I am Ebulomo Oguntoye. There was mild drama at the Fajui Estate area of Ado-Ekiti today with the activities of a government task force leading to the locking up of some residents of the estate in their houses. The recent face-off is a continuation of the crisis of confidence which has pitched the State Housing Corporation against residents of the estate in an action described as selective sealing.
Talking to you, we have over 49 names that the loans have been approved, awaiting disbursement, that Housing Corporation have refused to follow up.
It's all the executives of the Homeowners Association. Their buildings have been blocked up. And whereas those who are even heavily owing are left, those who have contravened the Housing Corporation rules and guidelines are not being locked up.
Today, because what is happening is actually in your domain.
Sorry, I don't.
The presidency has reacted to reports making rounds that the president's trip to the United States of America was a total waste of taxpayers' money. Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, in a statement on Wednesday, recalled an editorial published in one of the dailies on August 2, 2015, putting the president's trip at a cost of 2.2 billion naira as not only false but sad. The spokesman said the present administration is particular about cutting costs of governance and expended a budget not up to 10% of the speculated figure. Shehu explains that the accommodation was provided free by the host government and all personnel staff who accompanied the president on the trip received reduced allowances. Shehu buttressed that Nigeria-U.S. relations have suffered severely over the past few years and the renewed relationship will do Nigeria a whole lot of good, especially as the Buhari administration continues to tackle the challenges of corruption, insecurity and the economy. Stating the benefits of the trip, Shehu said the proposed $2.1 billion fund from the World Bank for the redevelopment of the Northeast battered by Boko Haram, the $5 billion from U.S. investors in Nigeria's agriculture sector, $1.5 billion investment in the Nigerian health sector, and another $5 billion investment from the U.S. in the country's power sector is in progress of consideration. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed concern over the enormous debt profile of Nigeria's aviation sector with a promise to act quickly to redress the situation. The president made this remark while receiving a briefing from the Federal Ministry of Aviation on Wednesday in Abuja, noting that safety, security and international respectability are the watchwords of the sector. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari pointed out that Nigerian airports are the windows through which people see the country. Consequently, the president has directed the Ministry of Aviation to speed up all processes and projects relating to the safety and security of Nigeria's air transport system. He has further ordered that counterpart funding for the upgrading of the international airports in Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt and Enugu be captured in the 2016 budget. For a part, Aviation Ministry's Permanent Secretary Binta Bello disclosed that the 5 new international airport terminal buildings were designed to meet the best international standards and could cater for 62 million passengers annually when completed in the first quarter of 2016. She said Lagos International Airport will be moving from 7 million passengers capacity to 25 million, Abuja from 5 million to 16 million, while Kano, Port Harcourt and Enugu will have the capacity for 7 million passengers each. President Muhammadu Buhari has pledged that his administration will take all necessary actions to maintain and improve the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) program as a functional vehicle for the promotion of national unity and integration. President Buhari gave the assurance on Wednesday in Abuja after receiving a briefing from officials of the Federal Ministry of Youth Development led by the Permanent Secretary Rabi Jimeta. The president affirmed his confidence and trust in the program, saying that the objective for which the scheme was established in 1973 was still very relevant for national development. On her part, Jimeta informed the president that the increasing number of NYSC participants posed a challenge to the scheme due to dwindling revenue from the national budget to cater for their needs. She said the annual enrollment of core participants had increased from 2,364 at inception in 1974 to 229,016 in 2014. Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Johnson Olaumi, also added that there were plans to make the scheme voluntary and reduce the core population to make the program more sustainable. The Senate has adopted the e-parliamentary technology. This is to enable lawmakers and members of the public have online access to operational legislative information, including order papers and oversight functions. Senate President Bukola Saraki disclosed this at the inauguration of the Committee on Rules and Business, headed by Senator Babajide Omowurare, a member of the Senate Unity Forum. The e-parliamentary technology is to be driven by the Senator Omowurare-led committee.
Elaborate ceremony, but it was meant to send signals on reconciliation efforts in the Senate. Senator Omowurare is a key member of the Ahmed Lawan group, but he is the chairman of a committee that is seen as the engine room of the upper chamber. Senate President Saraki alluded to this in his speech at the inauguration.
This is a Senate that is here to serve the people and leave the politics behind. But because we're all senators, and what is interest for all of us is who best can do the work. And I think that having someone like Gideon Mora as the chairman of the Senate also goes to confirm that we're beginning to walk the talk, talking about the commitment and competence.
He also spoke about the Senate's intention to adopt e-parliament technology in its procedure.
The challenge to us, particularly, is how do we take this Senate to the issue of e-parliament? I think that is one of, and that is my charge to the members of the committee. You must start this new page in the history of the Senate, where we must now be in line with what the other parts of the world are doing as a parliament. And I believe those who are members here have the capacity to do that. And that is where we begin to say that, yes, the 8th Senate did make a difference and started to do something new. It will be tough, because like anything new, there will be challenges by those that believe that we should not change.
The committee chairman is aware of the task ahead and is prepared to midwife a process that has not been known in Nigeria's legislative operations.
The committee is obligated, Mr. President of the Senate, to the early realization of your vision to implement, as a matter of urgency, the e-parliament technology that will enable senators access order paper, notice paper, legislative calendar, and other operational legislative information online and real time. It will also enable us to properly monitor oversight, committee works, and other legislative chores and deadlines.
Members of the committee include Barnabas Gimadi, Benga Ashafa, and Uche Kwenife. The spokesman for the Lawan Group, Kabiru Marafa, is also listed as member, but he failed to show up for the inauguration.
Senate President Bukola Saraki has solicited the assistance of the international community for ongoing government efforts to end the insurgency in the northeast Nigeria and rebuild affected communities. He said such support would also help bring relief to the millions of people displaced by the insurgents. The Senate President made the call at separate sessions with the German ambassador to Nigeria, Michael Zena, and his Spanish counterpart, Alfonso de Arias, in Abuja. He noted that from what he saw from his recent visit to Maiduguri, the humanitarian situation and level of destruction in the area require urgent global support.
The relations between the parliaments are as well very close, and so I think it would be good if we can as well envisage that German parliamentarians come to Nigeria, or that Nigerian parliamentarians and senators coming to Germany. So
we are also working on a bilateral agreement on cooperation on security and fighting crimes that includes terrorism, because we think that Boko Haram is a problem not only of Nigeria but of the whole international community. Spain, I don't know if you have, if you know the history of Spain, but we have suffered from terrorism. In 2004, there was a big jihadist terrorist attack in Madrid. More than 200 people died. We have suffered from terrorism, our national terrorist movement, ETA. We think it's important international cooperation.
And the 8th Senate, our focus is to try and address some of our major issues. The issue of security, which in the Northeast, as I said, on Monday we just came back from Borno State. We went to Maiduguri to visit and have a first-hand assessment. And what we saw there, especially as regards the IDPs, that is the thing that is a big cry out here to see what help and support you can do in both seeing how do we help with rehabilitation and reconstruction of those areas, to be able to, at the shortest period of time, build schools, hospitals, homes. All this has been destroyed. And I think it cannot be left to just us alone to rebuild, and whatever support that we can do to help humanitarian and restore people's life, I think will be well appreciated in either long-term funding that we can use to repair the area that has been devastated.
Troops detect IEDs along Borno Link Road. The Nigerian Army says troops have uncovered 5 improvised explosive devices along the Link Road to Goza Yanteke Road in Borno State. This was contained in a statement signed by the Deputy Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Chukur Gusau, on Wednesday. Gusau revealed that the troops also recovered some bomb-making tools in the Dikwa area of the state. Immediate past Chief of Army Staff Kenneth Minima says Boko Haram activities were initially used as a tool to advance sectional, tribal, religious and political interests in the country. This, he insists, is why the activities of the insurgents did not receive the condemnation it deserves from the local populace at the initial stage. Minima revealed this at the polling out ceremony organized in his honor by the army authorities in Abuja. Pai Samuel has more in this report.
Minima is the 19th Chief of Army Staff and the 25th head of the Nigerian Army. He has served in the Army for 36 years, during which he rose through the ranks to becoming the Chief of Army Staff. On January 16, 2014, he was named the head of the Army, but Minima said he had challenges even before settling down to work.
You would recall the appointment came at the time our Army, and indeed the nation was going through one of the worst crises in our history. The level of violence and insecurity unleashed on innocent citizens by the Boko Haram terrorists had reached unprecedented heights. There was spate of bombings across the country. Attacks on soft targets such as civilians and vulnerable communities were on the increase. The armed forces and security agencies appeared helpless to address the situation. And sadly, the nation began to lose confidence in its army and military.
Despite the situation, the former army chief said he continued working to ensure that the country, especially the Northeast, is secured. He insisted that under his watch, the fighting capacity of Boko Haram was reduced in the last few months. Minima says he is convinced that the army he is leaving behind is combat ready to finally bring down the insurgents.
The threat of terrorism is rapidly expanding across the globe and demands the collective action of all nations. Boko Haram may have its greatest impact in Nigeria, but its ability to hurt other nations' interests, no matter the distance, is real. In the last decade, we have seen the extent to which people who harbor evil against their fellow human beings go to inflict pain and death on innocent people.
Today, life has presented different challenges for the 36 years Minima had spent in the army. But he is using the occasion as a reminder of what he claims to be his last words to officers and men he's leaving behind.
A nation is as strong as its armed forces. And the strength of the armed forces is in the quality of the individual soldier and his fighting spirit. Fighting spirit imbues him with confidence to stand up to the adversary rather than flee, like we witnessed in the recent past.
Although Minima is retired, the new Chief of Army Staff, General Buratai, says he will continue to seek for advice from his predecessor to ensure total success in the combat against terrorism. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
It's the CoreTV News at 4. We'll take a break and return with more. Don't go away.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. They don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute. I said to hell.
On Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has your right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
Some pundits believe that as long as the political system is driven by selected few, corruption may be difficult to fight.
You should be careful about what you say.
I am not the only politician. Even if I've wronged anyone, it is time to forgive me.
Political Arena every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Social media platforms and Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. On YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV with a space within news. Inspector General of Police Solomon Arase on Wednesday decorated two newly appointed Deputy Inspectors General of Police. The decorated officers are DIG Chintua Amajo Unu and DIG Adeniji Jibril. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojuku said in a statement that IGP Arase is satisfied with the professional conduct of the officers. Arase, however, charged the officers to use their wealth of experience to further improve the police management team for better policing. The petition seeking for the impeachment of Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola has been dismissed by the State House of Assembly following the recommendation of the 7-man committee set up to investigate the petition. This is just as the committee recommended that the State Judicial Service Commission should take a disciplinary action against the petitioner, Justice Folaomi Oluyede, a 7th judge in the State High Court. Rashid has more from the Osun State House of Assembly.
On the 23rd of June, Osun State House of Assembly received a petition from 7th judge in the State High Court, Justice Folaomi Oluyede, urging the House to investigate the State Governor Rauf Aregbesola and his deputy, Titilayo Yetomori, for financial recklessness. Subsequently, the House constituted a 7-man ad hoc committee chaired by the Deputy Speaker, Akintunde Adegboye. Submitting the report, the chairman of the committee, Adegboye, read that the committee recommended that the petition against Governor Aregbesola be dismissed on the grounds that it was an embodiment of emotions and laden with political undertone, among others.
The petition submitted by Justice Olamide should be dismissed on the following grounds. 1. The petitioner abandoned her claims by refusing to appear personally before the ad hoc committee to substantiate the various allegations leveled against the governor and deputy governor of the state of Osun in her petition. Besides, the representatives of the petitioner do not produce any document to substantiate the allegations during their appearance. So, the petition submitted by Justice Oluyede is frivolous, fictitious, and baseless because the various allegations contained therein were based on rumors and hearsay.
The court is not a Father Christmas. So I believe the House of Assembly is not Father Christmas too. Court will not give you anything you didn't pray for. This petition on arrival is dead already because of the technicality that this petition have already suffered in the first place.
The House thus passed a resolution to dismiss the petition through voice notes. Speaker of the House, Najib Salam, points that although the petitioner's action was against judiciary etiquette, the House took it upon itself to investigate her claims in order to honor her right to freedom of expression.
The process and procedure of writing the petition by the petitioner may be wrong. It goes against the etiquette of the judiciary. But in a way, I don't want to gag our own freedom of expression as a citizen of this country. And that is why I'll allow it. And for us to have a lesson from this, there must be a pronouncement from the House, and the member of the public must be aware of the workings of the House of Assembly. It has never happened in the history of this country, apart from being a judge, that an individual from outside will write the House to impeach the governor or the president of this country.
As the committee exonerates Aregbesola, Osun State citizens now await what becomes of the petitioner, Justice Folahomi Oloyede. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
Two factions of the Ekiti State chapter of the Trade Union Congress is now battling with leadership crisis. One led by Kolawole Olaiya and another by Odunayo Adesoye battle for the soul of the union as they both have parallel executives. The Ekiti State government has also been fingered as the brain behind the division experienced by the union. Rashid completes the story.
In recent times, activities, especially leadership selection process of labor unions, no doubt leave many questions to be answered. This is playing out in Ekiti State with leadership crisis tearing the State Trade Union Congress apart. A delegate conference held some days back had produced a new set of executives, but Kolawole Olaiya says he remains the authentic chairman through a court judgment from the National Industrial Court.
This NIC decision is suit number NIC AK 2012 and 2012 is the basis why I'm here. Everything that took place on Thursday, 30th day of July 2015 is illegal.
But the newly elected executives who emerged at the said delegate conference with Odunayo Adesoye as the chairman denies any court injunction, as Olaiya was said to have been impeached earlier.
The election that we just concluded on Thursday, 30th July 2015 was the one that was conducted by the national body of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. I don't know anything about that court judgment. Nobody served me a copy of the court judgment.
We met, we discussed, we passed a vote of no confidence to Comrade Olaiya.
While the Olaiya faction claims its tenure will end on October 2016, he accused the state government of supporting the Adewumi faction. This was, however, described as mere cry of a loser.
When this government came, a lot of things, took place. Because everything has been impunity in the state. I can mention a series of things which have been done with impunity.
The unions are there to check the excesses of the government. So I cannot imagine somebody who is coming out to say that the TUC has now become the appendage of government.
There is no end in sight to this crisis as the warring factions are not ready to settle the rift, even as the state government is being accused of complicity. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The Kaduna State government has ruled out compensation for owners of unauthorized houses built within the premises of government schools and hospitals. The general manager of the State Urban Development Authority, Saratu Hassan, has made this clear at the commencement of demolition of houses belonging to private individuals in Aluda Huda College, Zaria. She also maintains that government has no intention of reversing its decision on the illegal structures. 32 private property on the school premises were pulled down in line with the government's intention to reclaim its land from illegal occupants. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode on Wednesday swore in 19 new permanent secretaries in the state civil service with a call on the new appointees to immediately get to work and prove themselves. The governor, at the ceremony held at the banquet hall, Lagos House Alausa, admonished the new appointees to ensure proficiency in the discharge of their duties, charging them to be committed to the principles of good governance, probity, transparency, and accountability. Governor Ambode says the quality of service by his administration will be measured on a daily basis. Hence, the permanent secretaries must up the ante and be alive to their responsibilities. He said the permanent secretaries were drawn from a pool of equally competent and qualified substantive directors, while a careful selection was done based on merit, professionalism, and proven track record of service to the state. We'll take another break now and we'll return with more reports.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, we don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
Many thanks for being there with us. And now we go to business stories. The Senate has invited the Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, to brief it on the real state of the economy and the current free fall of the Naira. This was on the basis of a motion by Senator Nazif Suleiman Bauchi North, which received unanimous support in the Senate chamber. Many senators spoke on how bad the Naira had depreciated in recent months, with a number of them blaming the situation on poor management of the economy by the previous government.
The declining value of the Naira has in recent times been a major issue in the country. And not surprising, the Senate is also wading in. Senator Nazif brought up the matter through a motion on the state of the economy and how the Naira is on a free fall. This elicited relations from many senators who wanted something done to stem the trend. A handful of them blamed the situation on the previous administration.
The pressure the Naira has, the dollar has. And what brings about the pressure? Number one, in this Senate, I think it was last week, we talked about waivers. When you are talking about waivers, you are talking about pressure on the dollar.
A nation that's based its resources on petroleum industry for the past 40 years has no chemical industries. There's a problem. If you compare your country, Nigeria, to Malaysia, to Venezuela, to Brazil, you can see what Petrobras has done over the years in Brazil. They have a range of products. But here you have a money economy, and that's what we're doing. Nigeria as a nation must define exactly what economy you want to develop.
The entirety of our lives as a country is to wait for the oil companies to mine this oil. Central Bank or this NMPC will sell. Central Bank will bring the money and we will share. Now it's gone halfway. You want to sustain your way, the way you used to live, against half and the income you used to get. There will be problems.
The motion received unanimous support and it had no problems calling through. Senate President Bukola Saraki summed up the Senate's position on the decline in the Naira value.
It's clear that the Naira is being subjected to speculators, and as such, the only way you can defend it is for the speculators to know that government policymakers are firm and are consistent in the defense of the Naira. As you can see the way the Naira is appreciating and depreciating. I think the message across here is that here in the Senate, we would give all that we can to government to see how they can defend the Naira.
Aside from summoning the CBN governor to brief it on the situation, the lawmakers also want the executive to step up efforts in diversifying the economy.
The House of Representatives is to investigate allegations of tax evasion against the Stallion Group. The company was said to have failed to pay custom duties to the tune of 17 billion naira under the new National Rice Development Policy. The decision is based on a motion moved by Abdullahi Farouk, who also claims that the former administration aided the company's cause. Objections that a similar motion had been handled by the 7th House were overruled by Speaker
Farms, Atafi Rice Industry, and Ariwa Rice Mill paid their duties to the Nigerian Customs Service. The Stallion Group still refused to pay and even determined to use the additional quotas granted to its subsidiary, Mascot Agro, to further evade payment of new custom duty.
If you have been following events, they have sealed up all these warehouses in line with the recommendation, closed all their offices, and also frozen all their bank accounts, even down to other businesses. I see this motion more like a duplication of the effort that has already been taken. Because what we have done clearly, if you look at the recommendation from the previous House consideration, Stallion Group was there, Popular Food, and all of them, we insisted that all their businesses and everything be sealed. And the customs, in line with the resolution of the House, have taken those actions.
As to whether we can consider this matter because we came to a conclusion on it in the last House, I think it is only appropriate, since we're calling for investigation, to look into the matter again. And if the report affirms that Custom has taken steps to recover these funds and they're indeed recovering it, then fantastic. That reinforces what we did in the last assembly. So I don't think it will be against any principle for us to have a look, to take a look at it.
And now to other stories outside Nigeria. Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott has said the baffling mystery of flight MH370 is closer to being solved after Malaysia announced that a fragment found in Reunion was part of the missing plane. Prime Minister Najib Razak said experts examining the debris in France had conclusively confirmed it was from the aircraft. However, investigators have stopped short of confirming the link, saying only that it is highly likely. Australia says it remains confident it is certain in the right area. The Malaysia Airlines plane was traveling from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on 8 March 2014 when it vanished from radar. It had 239 people on board. The debris found on the remote French island in the Indian Ocean a week ago, a wing part known as flapon, was the first possible trace. The part was flown to a military laboratory in the French city of Toulouse, where experts were carrying out their second day of tests on Thursday. Residents in the Japanese city of Hiroshima are commemorating the 70th anniversary of the first atomic bomb being dropped by a U.S. aircraft that killed 140,000 people in 1945. A ceremony attended by Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was held at Hiroshima's Memorial Park before thousands of lanterns were released on the city's Motoyasu River. The bombing and a second one on Nagasaki 3 days later is credited with bringing to an end World War II, but it claims the lives of at least 140,000 people in the city. A U.S. B-29 bomber called the Enola Gay dropped the uranium bomb, exploding some 600 meters above the city at around 8:10 on 6 August 1945. On that day alone, at least 70,000 people are believed to have been killed. Many more died of horrific injuries caused by radiation poisoning in the days, weeks, and months that followed. People across Japan have observed a minute's silence to mark the anniversary. In Hiroshima, a bell tolled at 8:15 local time when the U.S. aircraft dropped the bomb that flattened the city center. And now to sports stories. Head coach of the Super Eagles, Sunday Olise, has held talks with Liverpool starlet Jordan Ibe in an attempt to convince the 19-year-old to switch his allegiance to Nigeria at senior international level. Ibe has represented England at under 18, 19 and 20 levels and was recently promoted to Gareth Southgate's under-21s, but is still eligible to play for Nigeria at the highest level because of his Nigerian roots. Olise was at Melwood this week with a high-powered Nigerian delegation to further push home his point, but the Football Association England FA is now expected to redouble their effort to keep hold of Ibe, who was once described as the future of the England national team by Daniel Sturridge. Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho is happy with his side's preparations ahead of Saturday's Premier League opener, despite the champions losing 1-0 to Fiorentina in their final friendly on Wednesday night. Gonzalo Rodriguez scored the only goal in the 35th minute, sealing the win for the Italian side. Chelsea, who starts their Premier League title defense at home against Swansea City, won 2 of their 4 preseason friendlies, both on penalties, and also lost the Community Shield match against London rivals Arsenal. Lionel Messi appeared to headbutt a Roma defender in Barcelona's 3-0 preseason friendly win at the Nou Camp. The Argentina forward, 28, was booked for the incident, in which he also grabbed the throat of France international Mapuyanga Mbiwa. Messi has never been sent off for Barcelona, but seemed to retaliate as the two players went head-to-head. It went on to score as the Catalan club continued their preparations for their La Liga title defense. They start the season against Atletico Bilbao on 23rd August. The Nigerian got a goal in each half for his Russian side as they came from a goal down to stun Sparta Prague at the Generali Arena. Ahmed Musa was the hero for CSKA Moscow, who came from 2 goals down to defeat host Sparta Prague 3-2 in the second leg, third qualifying round of the UEFA Champions League. Leonid Slotsky's men had played out a 2-2 draw in the first leg at the Arena Khimki and needed a win away to secure a spot to the next round of the qualifying stage. Ladislav Grebzi put the hosts ahead in the 6th minute before Kaide Fatai added the second for Sparta 10 minutes later. With the odds against CSKA to progress, Musa was on ground to reduce the deficit in the 34th minute as he put his team block back on level terms 6 minutes after the restart of the half before Alan Jago sealed the win for the Russians. Arsenal midfielder Jack Wilshere has suffered a hairline fracture to his right ankle and could be out for 6 to 8 weeks. The 23-year-old was injured by a heavy tackle in training on Saturday, a day before Sunday's 1-0 win over Chelsea in the Community Shield. He will not require surgery on the small bone crack, but is expected to miss up to 2 months of the season. Wilshere missed 5 months of last season after injuring his left ankle. He required 2 operations after suffering ligament damage in November and returned for the Gunners' final 6 games of the campaign, including the FA Cup final success against Aston Villa. Stuart Broad became the 5th England bowler to take 300 Test wickets on the first day of the 4th Ashes Test. The 29-year-old Nottinghamshire paceman, playing on his home ground of Trent Bridge, took 4 wickets with his first 13 balls of the day. The 300th wicket was Chris Rogers, caught at first slip by Alastair Cook with the 3rd ball of the game. Broad is playing in his 83rd Test, having made his debut against Sri Lanka in 2007. McWood also took a wicket as Broad's 4th reduced the Australians to 21-5 in 4.1 overs. Broad joins Fred Truman, Bob Willis, Sir Ian Botham and his teammate James Anderson in England's 300 club. And that's it on the news at 4. Many thanks for watching. I am Open.